great booming voice, but when it comes to the audio, it would really help if you use the microphone. 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. We will then have 1 minute to respond to a question that I will ask. And then at my discretion, we may have a 30-second either expansion of your answer or a rebuttal. That will be, again, at my discretion. We have here index cards. This is how you get your questions asked. If you have a question, we have index cards going out and about. If you don't have an index card but you have a question, just raise your hand. We have some runners who will then bring you a card. And then when you've written your question out, and they'll bring you a pen, when you've written your question out, just raise the card up again, and then they will come and collect the card and bring it to me. And that is how we will do that. Now, I will say, if your question is not asked, please do not take it personally. We combine them for like-type topics and issues to make sure that we're getting to those that are most common. Or we may just run out of time. We do, in the past couple of forums, we have had a couple left over. Also, if you've missed the previous forums, we had the County Commission Chair along with the State House, the State Senate in the first one. That is posted online. You can get those forums at carolinapublicpress.org. Also, ABLWV, Asheville Buncombe League of Women Voters.org. Last thing I'm going to say before we get started. Districts have changed. There's a lot of confusion out there. Polling locations have changed. You can go to vote411.org, which is a league resource website, vote411.org, and you can get all that information there. Don't assume you're going to the same polling location. It may not be. And you don't want to have to cast a provisional ballot if you don't have to and all that stuff. So vote411.org. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. We'll start with you, if we may. Nathan Ramsey. That should be on and ready to go.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nathan Ramsey. I'm a candidate for North Carolina House. My beautiful wife, Robin, is here. She's also a Buncombe County girl, grew up in West Asheville, went to Asheville High, and because of an 80-yard touchdown pass in the final minute, she gets bragging rights for the next year because her alma mater beat my alma mater in football a couple of weeks ago. But I grew up here, went to Buncombe County Public Schools, graduated from UNC Asheville, went off to law school, came back and started milking cows. My family, I'm a third-generation dairy farmer. We milk about 170 cows over the mountain here in Fairview, ship about 1,500 gallons of milk a day. I had the honor to serve you as chairman of the Board of Commissioners for 8 years. I served with 4 Democrats during that period. I was recognized by the State Association of County Commissioners for working on bipartisan lines to solve problems, recognized statewide for leadership in land conservation, affordable housing, among many other things. I'm proud of that record. Was endorsed twice by the Buncombe County Association of Educators because of my support for schools. Unfortunately, Ms. Wilson has chosen, for whatever reason, to distort my record when I was county commission. She sent out a mailer, said I cut funding for schools. On the back table, there's a chart from Buncombe County Finance Department. It shows the funding for Buncombe County schools. It was increased 51% over the 8 years that I was on the board. Funding was never cut, increased from $32 million to $50 million. We spent $242 million over 8 years on school capital projects in Buncombe County, paying off debt and other things. This is from the Buncombe County Finance Department. Her allies are sending out mailers that said I've lied about school funding. I understand I might need plastic surgery. Didn't realize I needed a nose job. Thought I needed some lipo because I could lose a few pounds, maybe more than a few.
All right, Mr. Ramsey.
Thank you so much. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion, not their own facts.
All right, thank you, sir.
My name is Susan Wilson. I'm running for North Carolina House 115. I am an attorney and a mediator. I moved to North Carolina 21 years ago to Buncombe County because of the quality of life, the beauty of the area, and because of the good education in the public schools. My partner and my stepson and I have enjoyed living here. He had a number of initials after his name. The first 4 were ADHD, and then the rest of them were other things that different people wanted to add on. And the Buncombe County Schools really did a wonderful, wonderful job with him. So I want to see schooling remain a top priority for the General Assembly, which it was not this past year. I also have represented a number of different constituencies that saw money cut from important programs for them. I represented parents in child support court. I prosecuted abuse and neglect cases. I have been a guardian ad litem attorney advocate for abused children, for incompetent adults. I have seen our mental health system be cut. I have seen us lose Medicaid so that we have children, we have the elderly, we have disabled who are being cut off of those roles. I have also watched them go after women's health. And as for some of the comments that Mr. Ramsey made, I will simply say, I don't know, I've never seen the one that he claimed my allies sent. I don't have allies that I'm aware of. As for the other, in 2003, there was a vote that would have cut the schools. It was later mediated out. If you will notice, in 2003, there really was no increase, and it's the only year. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and get started. I will remind you, keep your responses pertinent to the issue at hand, no personal attacks. You're absolutely able to respond, though, to false allegations or allegations. All right, here we go. And we'll start with you, Mr. Ramsey. In the last session, the General Assembly voted to enact a voter ID. It was vetoed by the governor. If elected, would you support a voter ID, and what is your rationale behind your vote?
I support a reasonable voter ID law in Buncombe County. Our board, and to be honest, I voted against that. I voted in support of what the Board of Elections had requested through our board, which is the majority of those would be Democrats. But our board in Buncombe County, we have paper ballots because of the concern about voter fraud. And our board made that decision, and I think that's a reasonable decision to make. And so I think to make sure we have integrity in the voting process, a reasonable voter ID is supported. I support early voting. I support same-day registration. All the advancements. When I first was elected, we had 4 early voting sites. I think the final year I was on the board, we had 12 early voting sites. This year we have 18 early voting sites.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Would you please repeat the question?
Absolutely. In the last session, the General Assembly voted to enact a voter ID. It was vetoed by the governor. If elected, would you support a voter ID and explain your rationale?
No, I would not. In areas where they've tried to determine exactly how much voter fraud there is, I think the highest number I saw was 0.004. Which is ridiculous. The only reason why you would use a voter ID is to try and suppress groups like minorities and the elderly who might find it a financial hardship, who don't have them anymore because they either aren't to that point or have lost their license because they have reached an age where they can no longer drive.
All right, thank you. This is going to be a 30-second expansion for Mr. Ramsey specifically. A flyer in your name went out stating that voter fraud happens, quote, all too often. Would you defend or disavow this mailing?
We live in the mountains of North Carolina. My family is from Madison County. We've lived here over 200 years, and if anybody has ever grown up in these mountains, we know voter fraud has happened for generations. And so I think, to have a paper ballot verification, to have reasonable requirements to make sure that the person going in to vote is who they say they are is very appropriate. Chairman Sobel is here. I used to joke in that race, I won by twice as many votes as the president won the state of Florida out of 90,000 cast,
Okay,
741 votes.
Thank you, sir.